Why does anybody go live? Because they love live. I love live. I used to host a dating and relationship talk show many years ago, and I went live all the time, and it was before I knew how dangerous it was. Naivety is good, right? And now now that there's an opportunity to go live, wanted to I want to do it. I want to do the scary thing of being of coming to you sort of on the fly and off the cuff. Also, there's an immediacy to going live. For those of you who don't know me, I am a writer, producer. I am a mom. I've written a book called Becoming Bold. I love encouraging, inspiring, and offering people what I call nectar. Nectar is nourishing, it's truth, it's life giving, it's sustenance. And I want to offer people a bit of nectar for their life. And now I can do that more immediately. I was before, cutting and making videos, and I found that it just took me so long to make the video, edit the video, and really the idea was just to get the information out. I just wanted to get the information out. And I thought some of the fanfare of like, the cutting and the editing and the this and the that, um, I just thought it just took me way too long. So I just love, love, love the immediacy and, you know, the scariness of what could happen, because your phone could fall over. Or somebody can come in the background and say something really wild. Just anything can happen while you're live. And so I revel in that. It gives me a great, great high. Today, I am going to be sharing some nuggets and thoughts and nectar about late bloomers. I personally don't believe in this idea of a late bloomer. I don't believe people are late bloomers. I think people don't have support. I don't think they have tools, and I don't think they had help for them to think through and to help them get to where they're going. So I think it's really hard to at a young age. Let's start. Say I'm going to use myself as an example, because at 9 I told my mom I wanted to be a writer. She said that was a hobby, and she just was just like super dismissive and just like was so aghast. That's a hobby. You're going to be poor the rest of your life. And she was, first generation immigrant. She was like, no, most immigrant parents, first generation, as most of you guys know, they don't want to have, they want their children to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, nurses, architect, get a PhD, have like a jillion degrees in whatever you want, write a book, write 5 books, write 10 books. Like, they want you to be on your education, academic hustle, and being a six-figure field. That's what they want. They don't want this arbitrary, what does that mean? Who's going to pay you? What is that? They don't want to have none of that. None of that is going to like enter into their mind. It's like their brain explodes when you tell them something creative. And my mom was no different. At least she wasn't like, at least she didn't yell. That's the bare minimum you can ask for a Caribbean mom. So, but she did say it was just like it was a hobby. And I ignored her and I kept writing. I had a little spiral notebook that I had from school that I repurposed as my own personal writing um journal. And I would write poems, and I had the courage enough to give some of my poems, like 3 of them, to my 6th grade English teacher. She loved them. She published them, and that was the first form of validation I got from her and my peers, because they loved the poems too. They really appreciated them. And I say all that to say is that you, my mom was the ultimate support that I needed. And when she didn't support me, at some point I stopped writing creatively. And it's going to be up to this small person, myself or anybody else, to try and figure out how they're going to get from this idea that they have, they want to do this thing, to actually making it happen. And how do you do that when you're a child? So the only time when you're able to do it is when you become an adult. And so now you're starting late. And now you're developing your craft and your skills late. Now you're learning what kind of voice you have late, whether you're a musician or a dancer or whatever you're doing. If you don't have that parental support or some support, an auntie, a grandma, somebody who's going to take you to the class, who's going to give you the lessons, who's going to pay for this, unless who's going to give you the spiral notebook, unless you have somebody, your angel, who's going to help you get to that place, you're going to start behind some people who had that support. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're late. It just means you're on a different timeline. And for a lot of people, they have this idea of where they're going to be in life. I want to be here at this point. I want to be here at this point. I want to be here at this point. And when you start later, that's no longer, that timeline is out the window. You're not going to have that timeline anymore. But even still, it's still okay, because sometimes we are on our own timeline. Most of the time, all the time, we are on our own timeline. And it's really important not to look to the right or the left of you. It's just to look straight ahead and get done what you need to get done, and just keep persevering, keep moving forward, don't give up, and don't disparage yourself by saying, "Oh, I'm just a late bloomer." That so minimizes all the hard work you had to do to get to where you are, because you had to do it on your own. There was no fairy godmother to give you the dress and to sew it up for you. You had to do that. You had to find, like, I had to get the screenwriting books. I had to learn how to who to talk to. I had to figure out the system and how to navigate that. I found my own creative, writing classes and TV and film writing classes. I did all of that on my own. I didn't have encouragement, and when I felt discouraged, I had to pick myself up, or really create community and form a community and meet people and extend myself to people, so that I would have people who could encourage me and tell me to keep going. And sometimes that wasn't a community. Sometimes it was the community of one. It was just me. So I just want to encourage people who have a dream, who have and it's not a dream, it's really something real that you're going to bring into reality. So I think, as fast as you can, stop thinking about it as this pie in the sky dream. It is a real thing that is really going to happen. And it's up to you to just keep going, stay committed, persevere, and to make it happen, and not to consider yourself as this sort of late, behind the eight ball person. And it does take, roughly, based on statisticians and researchers, about 10,000 hours for you to perfect your craft, so they say. It takes about 10,000 hours. And does it take some people longer because of however they process and learn and however they want their skill set to be? Sure, it probably takes longer than 10, but at the same time, you should be honing in on your personality and your how you integrate with other people, because it's not just about the craft. I've met some people who say, "Oh, I'm really great. I'm so good at this. I'm really great at that." And I'm like, yeah, you are really great at what you do, but you don't know how to collaborate. You don't know how to get along with people. You're cursing people out. You don't know how to enter into a situation and be helpful. So you have to learn how to be a leader and how to get people to follow you into the trenches. You have to be somebody that inspires respect. And so while you're working on your craft, you also have to be working on your emotional maturity, because that's going to also carry you through to this next level of success. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and I encouraged her, and in the same way encouraging myself, because at one point, well, I've never thought of myself as a late bloomer, which is really funny. I just knew I was starting late. I just said I'm starting late. I'm not a late bloomer. I'm starting late. And I think that's the case with a lot of people, because many of us don't have those tools starting out when we say, I want to do this, and we don't have somebody who will say, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. I will give a tangible example. So my son is like, I want to edit videos. I want to, create YouTube shorts, based on my video gaming. I said, okay, so my husband and I, we teach him how to edit. We give him a hand-me-down laptop. We give him a hard drive. We buy him software. We enroll him in YouTube classes that he takes that teaches him how to edit. So we have helped him and reinforced this vision that he has, that he should do it, that he's right on track, that he's not wrong. And when you do that, and when you have that support and you have somebody saying, you're right, and you're gonna get this and this and this, and you're gonna keep going. Sometimes that's all the encouragement that that somebody like us will need, but we don't get that. We don't even get that. We don't get a notepad, a pen. We we don't get a class. We don't get anything. And when I was speaking to my friend about it, she mentioned how we talked about how we both love Oprah. And I was a latchkey kid, she was a latchkey kid, and we would get home and we would watch Oprah. And at some point, you know, yes, Oprah was the encouragement that a lot of us had. Like she was this maternal figure saying, "Yes, go do it. Go do it. You can do it." And having all these people come in and talk about how they overcame. And, a lot of times that was also church for me, like having a pastor tell you, "Yes, you can do it," and "Yes, you can." And so it was those voices that said, "You're not wrong, keep going," but it wasn't anybody in the household. So I just want to say this again and again and again and again and again. You're not late. You're right on time. Even though you started late, even though you had to get the tools yourself, even though you had to do all the research, even though you had to track people down, which is exhausting and tiring, and you had to do all these things on your own. Don't give up. Keep going. Your timeline is not everybody else's. And yeah, feel free to leave comments and questions below. If you have anything you want to share or add, or if you want me to talk about something that has been on your mind, if you want another thought behind it, please feel free. My platform is a conversation ongoing with anybody who jumps in. My Instagram handle is Lorna_dear. The book that I wrote is called Becoming Bold. It's on Amazon, and it's all about just moving forward. And when I wrote it, I was doing what I felt was very bold things, which I was. I was doing very bold things. And now it feels like there's a new iteration where you just have to keep going and you have to keep taking risks and you can't stop and you're constantly in a state of becoming. And that just can't ever get old. Just can't ever get old. And yeah. So encouragement to all of you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you next time.